Hey YouTube, Kamen Rider here with my review of SIC Kamen Rider Birth from Kamen Rider OOO, one of the latest SIC releases from the OOO series. This was a Tamashii Web exclusive, just FYI. Very quick look at the box, as I usually do with my reviews. Nothing too spectacular here. Basically, you just get a shot of the figure you're getting with his like insignia type thing on the back, and it looks pretty cool. It's individualized to him. On the side, you get like pictures of the back of Cell Metal, since that was his forte. And then on the back it just shows you stuff you can do with the figure as per usual, and then it shows like proto birth and stuff, and like the different visors they have and the different equipment, and you can mix and match and make a final birthday mode. But yeah, that is that. I'm just gonna go ahead and move that out of the way now because the accessories tray is gigantic. And here's the figure itself, in case you're wondering. I'm actually not even going to go over the figure. We're just going to be doing the accessories and the box today. The figure's part 2, and he won't even stand because he's being a poop head. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Okay, but I guess let's go ahead and just go over the figure first. As you can see, the SICs are larger figures if you're not familiar with them. He's a very nice looking figure. Also, if you're not familiar with lisps, sorry to people that have lisps. I'm just getting weird already in this one, guys. If you're not familiar, SICs are stylized looks. And Birth's, I think, looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but because he's not like an animal-based rider, he's a tech-based rider, his design is inherently not quite as interesting SIC-wise as the other OOO's ones, which are kind of more radically changed and do really cool things. But I still think it looks pretty cool because I like Birth in general. And I think it looks pretty good. I think the head sculpt's kind of neat. You have a nice compound effect there. I think the armor looks good. The paint looks really good on it. It's got a nice shiny metal feel to it. The belt here looks good as well. Just very nicely detailed. These usually are very highly detailed figures. The paint on them always looks really nice. They do a very good job on them. In that department. So yeah, I dig his design to start, but I think the SIC one does look pretty cool. But like I said, inherently, you just can't do those crazy things when you're not based on an animal, but still pretty cool. These are also pretty well articulated. You have a nice 360 joint here, swiveling, double elbow joint. You have swiveling at the fist. His hands are swappable. There's a couple different hands you get with this. Nice articulation here at the leg, double knee joint, the swiveling. You have a nice little joint on his leg as well, and then what I call the toe action joint. And then you have articulation at the waist and chest, and then of course the head can do creepy stuff, 360 up and down. So very well articulated, pretty much on the level of figure arts. One thing SICs are a bit notorious for is loose joints. I've mentioned this in many reviews, but I think in the more recent years they have gotten better at it. I will comment on that this guy doesn't have any loose joints right now, but he doesn't exactly feel the tightest, which is often the case with SICs more recently. For me, is where they don't feel loose when you get them or anything, but they don't feel like they're completely tight, so like you know that if you mess around with them a long time or are switching out a lot, they will become loose over time. So that's something to be aware of, especially with this one. I apologize already if things get messy because things are a little bit complicated, but like with certain ones like this where you have a lot of swappable pieces, just I would recommend when you swap them, stay committed to it for a bit. For like a display or whatever you're doing, just because messing around with it so often will likely make the joints go loose a little bit faster. But yeah, overall though, with the exception of the potential loose future he has, that sounded really weird, he's a very nice figure, well articulated, good, looks good, no like appalling loose joint problems at this moment. Okay, he just won't stand because I have him in a funny pose. It really has nothing to do with the figure, it's just more me, just so you know. But now that I got him stand, I'm going to set him over here so we can show off this giant accessories tray here. So he comes with quite a bit. As you can see, we have pieces for most components of his birthday mode. We got the legs right here. Here's the arm, the claw, the craw, and then the drill here. And then of course you have the birth buster here, his weapon. I'm not making that up. It's really a cool weapon. It looks really nice, nicely detailed on here. The metal painting on here looks really nice because it's a nice dark color, but it has a shine to it, so it really makes it look like metal. You can swap modes on it super easy just by popping this out and putting it in there. Very, very easy to do. So it's just really nice, real easy to work with. So that is cool. You do have a couple different hands down here. You can see it looks like a blaster holding hand because he's got like the specified trigger figure, and then just some sort of relaxed hands as well. So you have two other sets of hands besides the punchy fist you get on him. And then you have a swappable visor for when he's all charged up and stuff. It's red, and it's super easy to swap out. You basically are just going to pop out the top there, and then you get this really weird looking, like you could be a PR villain bot. And then just swap it back on there. There's two little pegs, and you'll see where they line up. There you go. I'll just leave that on just for the sake of it. So yeah, that's very, very easy to do. Now everything else is pretty easy to do. You're just gonna kind of have to be careful. I think I'll actually start with the legs, which I wasn't planning on, but hell. Okay. So to do that, when you first look at it, it doesn't look like there's anywhere to put anything, but you're going to need to pull out these little capsules. Be very careful. It's really nice that these are able to hide because of that, so you don't just have these holes everywhere, but be really careful about losing these small pieces. So set that over there, and then also right here, this little strip right below it, you're going to want to pull that out as well. And yet again, be very, very careful about losing that. Like I said, when you do this, stay committed to it. If you want to put some of the birthday mode pieces on, put them on, put these in a safe place, leave them that way for a while. Switch them back later. Okay, so now you're basically prepped for that. Everything else is just super easy with it. I think I'll do the feet first, actually. This might come back to haunt me, but maybe not. I'm not sure. Okay, so the feet go on here. The feet go on the feet, or they're like slippers. And you'll see there's two little pegs here, the two little holes. When you first get it, it almost looks like it's not gonna fit and like you're missing something, but you're just gonna need to sort of bend the plastic a little bit. It is a little bit flexible. I don't think you're gonna be in too much danger of breaking it, but you're gonna kind of have to finagle it a little bit because it is a bit of a tight fit. This ain't no Cinderella story here. So you're just going to want to be real careful about it. But once it's on there securely. Okay, we got them both on there. Had to cut ahead a little bit because, like I said, it is kind of a pain to put on there. Okay, so for these pieces, it's super easy. Just pull this backing off, and then these little pieces are going to line up to where you took out those tiny little capsules. And then just snap the back right back on there. Right back on there. Weren't you listening to me? Okay. Make sure it's tight on there, and then you'll see that there's these little pegs sticking out, and that is for his little roller skates. Yay, Birth's roller skates. No, but that's what goes on here. Let's go ahead and do that. Come on. And then after I do this one, because I want to save time in this video, I'm going to go ahead and cut ahead to having the other ones done, so that way it's all super easy. There we go. There's that one, and then this one goes on here just like this, and it's all super easy. Until just be real careful you don't pop off the pegs. And there you go. That's how you do the leg. I'm going to quickly speed ahead to having the other one done, just so we don't waste camera time on it, since it's the same exact process, just mirrored. Okay, now he has both of his giant slippers on him. Okay, so now we can sort of set him down, and he should stand pretty sufficiently now. One of his slippers is about to fall off, but that's cool for right now. Okay, so we have that. So now the other pieces are the arms. One of them is a little bit easier than the other. With one of them, well, it's not that difficult. You just got to pull off the arm, and it kind of has difficulties sometimes. Okay, but for this one, it's real easy. For the claw, you're just going to see that there's little pegs here, and there's also one right up here. And you're just going to take off these little side pieces. Yet again, be very careful about losing them. Make sure you put them somewhere safe. Get like a little sandwich bag or something, and just set them all aside. And then the claw is basically just going to line up on here. Peg it in up here. And peg it in down here. There you go. Let's get this to commit to being in there better. Alright, that's good enough. So there you have the claw. Pretty easy to install. It's just that you're going to want to be careful with the little pieces that you have to take off for it. But other than that, super easy. He's like super lopsided now. Okay, so for the other one, it's pretty simple. You're basically just going to be swapping out his arm for this piece here. So let's do that. Well, not the whole arm, but I just took it off anyway. But just this piece here. And there's actually a little bit of a panel missing there that I dropped earlier that's from the shoulder. But and this can be kind of a pain to get in. You're going to want to make sure it's pretty secured. It actually makes it a little bit easier to take the arm off of it. Out of the ball joint. And that's as good as we're going to get for now. And then of course it comes right off. But this one is probably the worst part of it. Everything else stays in really nicely. It's just this piece that decides to be a huge jerk. So we're just going to leave it like that. for the moment. Just for the moment. Okay, so now we're going to do the chest piece, which is pretty simple. Again, you just pull off these pieces here. There's another little tiny like capsule piece right here. And then this piece here, it almost doesn't look like it pops off, but it does. Again, I always trim my nails like right before I'm actually going to need them for some sort of toy-related mishap. And then pop that off yet again, 15th millionth time. Be super careful. And then these just snap right on. And you'll see here, these actually have handles, so if you don't have these pieces on, you can actually have him holding them, which is kind of neat. But obviously he's not going to be doing that right now, since he really only has one free hand, and it's in a closed fist. So just snap this on here. And don't be an imbecile. There you go. Alright, so there he is, all completed. I'm now just going to quickly slice away to a better pose, so I don't waste your time with those shenanigans either. Alright, that's as good as we're going to get as far as poses go, but as you can see, he looks pretty cool. Obviously, he still retains some articulation, but it's a little bit hindered by some of the armor pieces and, you know, coming off and whatnot, especially the drill, which has a huge tendency to pop off on there. But it still looks pretty impressive and pretty awesome. I think it's pretty cool looking. Obviously, you can get a different version if you have the Proto Birth stuff, but still, just a really cool looking armor mode. It looks very impressive once you have it together. Honestly, overall, I'm mostly pleased with this figure. I think it looks really cool on its own, well articulated, not too many loose joint problems. The armor mode looks cool. For the most part, they're pretty easy to swap out. My only real issue comes from the drill arm being a huge pain to deal with in terms of it getting on there and staying on there. But other than that, if you are a huge Birth fan, if you can find this for a decent price, I can recommend at least checking it out. And just be careful with losing the little pieces and messing around with it too much to get loose joints. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you check out the crazy podcast at writersrangerambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, Dawson Rider, signing out.